I'm going to start this by saying something that's going to sound absolutely insane. But he goes, my mother-in-law refused to see my newborn daughter because she thought I cheated. And it all started the second she saw her face. Yeah, you heard that right. Cheated. Me. With a newborn literally in my arms. My husband, Raj. And I had been together for 4 years, married for 2. And we were over the moon about our first baby. Everything had been smooth. Until the day we introduced Sarah to his family. We decided on anyone. In the hospital while I was giving birth. Just 1 week at home to figure things out as new parents. No vidas. No pressure. Our little bubble. It was supposed to be simple. But simplicity apparently isn't allowed when you marry into certain families. 3 weeks after Sarah was born, my mother-in-law, Priya, came over with my father-in-law and sister-in-law. I walked into the living room holding Sarah, expecting the usual squeals of joy, hugs, and smiles. What I got instead was a literal horror. Her face went from this huge, proud grin to something that looked like she'd seen a ghost. She shrieked, "This isn't Raj's baby." She kept ruined over. My husband tried to calm her, but nothing worked. The baby started crying. The chaos was instant, and I just froze. Raj is Indian. I'm white. Sarah. She's pale like, really pale but with a full head of black hair and brown eyes. We joked during the pregnancy that she might look completely white at first. It wasn't a joke anymore. And apparently, genetics don't count. Not in Priya's book. They left without even holding her. And just like that, our calm little home became a battlefield. For weeks, she refused to speak to me or see Sarah. Raj kept trying to reason with her over the phone. He reminded her that she herself isn't extremely dark-skinned for an Indian woman. But Priya wouldn't budge. She demanded a DNA test. Now, here's where it gets messy. Raj doesn't doubt for a second that Sarah is his. He's 100% sure. But he asked me to do the test anyway. Not for him. For Priya. For Sarah. To preserve some hope of a relationship with her grandmother. I wanted that too. Sadid. For context, I live 10 hours away from my own family. Raj's parents live less than an hour from us. I had been counting on Priya to be this big part of Sarah's life. To be there for the little milestones, the everyday stuff. And suddenly, I wasn't sure if I could trust her to be alone with my daughter ever again. Looking back, this might have been my first real parenting crisis. Not a sleep deprivation meltdown, not diaper explosions, but human judgment. Weeks passed. Priya stayed distant, simmering in her own fury. Then, one morning, she called Raj at work. She wanted to come by to apologize. I was skeptical. Like, deeply skeptical. But Raj said okay, as long as he and my sister-in-law were there. Fine, whatever. We were going to find out if this apology was real or just another drama. That evening, they arrived. Priya immediately started crying. She admitted she overreacted, that she knew Sarah was Raj's child, and I was flabbergasted. Then she started talking about how disappointed she was that we weren't including more Indian culture in Sarah's life. The name, the ceremonies. She even said she felt hurt that we gave her a Western name. skipping any traditional Hindu rituals. Here's the thing, everything we did was intentional. Raj was raised in the US. He's westernized. He's experienced racism in everyday life, just for the color of his skin. He didn't want Sarah dealing with that added layer. He wanted her to grow up safely, comfortably, without unnecessary conflict over her identity. We're both atheists. Neither of us wanted religious ceremonies. It wasn't disrespect. It was strategy. Priya started crying harder when she held Sarah. She spoke to her in Hindi. Cooed, laughed. I could feel her guilt dripping off her like sweat. She wanted back in. But I wasn't ready to just hand her the keys to my child's world. I told her she needed to prove that this was a one-time incident. That, if she wanted privileges like weekends with Sarah or teaching her about Indian culture, she had to behave like an adult. She agreed. Promised she would earn our trust. Promise she loved us both. We hugged. She cried. And for the first time since the DNA debacle, I felt a flicker of hope. We agreed she could plan a naming ceremony if she wanted. But Sarah wouldn't be left alone with her anytime soon. I was still nervous, still cautious, but it was progress. Looking back, letting her come back was my first big gamble as a mom. One that could either rebuild our family bond or completely destroy my trust in her forever. I didn't know which way it would go. And then, things got even weirder. After that night, I kept replaying Priya's words in my head. She cried. She apologized. She promised to earn our trust. But trust isn't something you just press reset on. It's a long, slow rebuild. And I was scared. Scared of leaving Sarah with her. Scared of letting history repeat itself. Scared that one slip-up could ruin everything. A week later, she called again. This time, it wasn't about apologies or ceremonies. She wanted to take Sarah for a short afternoon visit. Raj and I agreed, but with conditions. He and I would be there the whole time. No pressure, no alone time. Just her, Sarah, and us together. The visit started fine. Priya smiled, talked softly, and even read a small children's story in Hindi. But then, I noticed little things that made my stomach tighten. She kept trying to coax me out of the room, saying, "You should rest." Let me bond with her. I laughed it off. But inside, my pulse was racing. My instincts were screaming, "Don't let your guard down." She noticed my hesitation and paused. Then she said, "I understand. I will respect your rules." And for a moment, I thought maybe she really could change. Maybe she understood what she'd done and how badly she'd hurt us. But it wasn't that simple. Over the next month, we tried a few controlled visits, always with boundaries. She was sweet, attentive, doting even. But the shadow of that initial meltdown lingered. Every time she looked at Sarah, I saw that flicker of judgment, the silent. I still can't believe this in her eyes. Raj noticed it too. He tried to reassure me. "She's learning," he said. "She's trying." That's progress, but I couldn't shake the feeling that one misstep, one impulsive comment about Sarah's appearance, and we'd be back to square one. Then came the conversation about culture again. Priya wanted to take Sarah to temple events, teach her about traditions. Raj and I agreed, but only if we were included in the planning. And I made it clear, this doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't give her a free pass to behave recklessly. I started realizing something about myself during this process. I wanted to believe in forgiveness. I wanted to believe in family. I wanted Sarah to know her grandmother. But I also wanted to protect my child and myself. I realized there was a tension between hope and caution, between love and vigilance. The next big twist came from within myself. One afternoon, while Priya was visiting, she said something that made me question everything. I was just so scared that I lost my mind. I thought I'd lose my son forever. And suddenly, I understood. Fear drove her out of control. It wasn't purely malice, not entirely. She didn't mean to lash out at me personally. She was terrified. Terrified that she wouldn't recognize her granddaughter. Terrified of losing her son to someone she didn't fully understand culturally. That realization didn't erase the damage, but it added layers. I felt empathy and suspicion at the same time, a cocktail of emotions I couldn't easily sort out. I loved that she was crying over Sarah, speaking to her in Hindi, smiling again. But I couldn't forget the screaming, the chaos, the accusation that I was a cheater. That part of her still existed somewhere. Raj and I had long talks about it. Sometimes late at night, after Sarah was asleep, we'd replay scenarios. Do we let her take her for a weekend alone in 6 months? He'd ask. I don't know, I'd reply. I don't know if I can trust her judgment yet. And then came the unexpected reassurance. Priya started small gestures, bringing meals, reading parenting books, checking in on Sarah's milestones but never crossing boundaries. It wasn't dramatic. There were no grand proclamations. Just steady, slow attempts at redemption. I realized that maybe, just maybe, trust isn't binary. It's a spectrum. She's not perfect. She never erased the memory of that first meltdown. But she can earn moments of grace, one tiny visit at a time. Looking back, this was my biggest test as a parent. Not diapers, not sleepless nights, not colic, but judgment, boundaries, forgiveness, and the messy, messy human heart. Some people might say I went too far keeping her at arm's length. Others might say I didn't go far enough in protecting Sarah. And honestly, I don't have a clear answer. I just know that every time Priya holds Sarah now, I watch carefully. Heart pounding, hoping that trust, once shattered, can quietly, slowly grow back. And that's where it stands for now. Priya's back in Sarah's life, slowly, cautiously. And me? I'm learning that love isn't simple. And trust is never guaranteed, even with family. So now I ask myself every day, did I do the right thing by letting her try again? Or should I have drawn a harder line? And maybe there isn't a definitive answer. Maybe the question itself is the point.